Greetings, church. Just wanted to check in with you for a moment this afternoon and share with you some updates that are happening in the life of our church, some things that we are very excited about here at First Christian Church. First, I want to say, as your pastor, I could not be more proud. I am so proud of this faith community because you have been a people who've been committed to continuing to be church, to continuing to be the hands and feet of Christ, even in the midst of a pandemic. And over the last several weeks, you have been fully focused and committed to making important decisions that will not only shape the way in which we continue to be church in 2020, but the way in which we think we might be church in 2020 and 20 years from now as well. What we've done over the last couple of weeks is our church board, our leadership here at First Christian, we've met twice now. First, we met last Monday to hear a report from the strategic planning team. And then we met again this Monday to affirm that report and to vote on a couple of action items. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you some things that have come out of the strategic planning team and their work over the last 4 years. As many of you know, we started a 40-day prayer process right at the first of 2020. And throughout that 40-day prayer process, we asked big and significant questions of God. And as a faith community, we spend a lot of time listening for God's response, really wanting to hear how God has been moving and working in the life of our church and how God is visioning us to move forward. And so after listening and having prayer conversations with church members and church-wide prayer reports and doing some research to put together some data and statistics, the strategic planning team has come to a conclusion in their work, and they are recommending 3 things to be taken seriously as we move forward. First, we would like us as a congregation to consider what it means to be the backyard of downtown. So we're calling this the Backyard Project. Second, we would like the church to take a lot of time and energy focusing on ways in which we can grow our ministry and mission. And we're labeling this the grocery store ministry because we think this starts with the way in which we go about serving the least of these through our weekly food pantry. And then lastly, we are asking our church to consider the Unity Project, ways in which we can continue to develop unity among our church as a single congregation, as well as some other partnerships that we have with other churches in our community and surrounding ministries and neighbors within our downtown community. So as I present these 3 different projects, what you're going to notice is that they all interrelate in some way, and that God is working to help us move not just in one way, but in 3 big ways, 3 God-sized ways. And we believe that if we as a church can be faithful in that, we will be a thriving community of faith, not just for this year, but 20 years from now as well. And because of that, we are so very, very excited. Because these are big God-sized vision, we have not yet figured out the how to all of these dreams, but we are hopeful that if we continue to do this work, continue to work together alongside each other, that the how will become clear. And so what I would encourage you to do is, as you listen to the remainder of this video, to get a pen and paper out and to take notes, to write down things that you hear that are exciting to you. And as you hear those things, maybe pause the video and just pray over them and ask God to continue to reveal to you how it is we are being called to move forward in these dreams and vision. And when you have questions, I ask you to just write those questions down, to spend some time praying over those questions, and I would encourage you to reach out to a member of the strategic planning team or your church board and begin to process those questions together as a faith community, trusting that as we go through this process, asking questions and responding together in faith, that the right way and the right answer, that the how question might reveal itself. So first, I want to talk to you about the Backyard Project. As we spent some time over the 40-day prayer process and really over the past 4 years, one of the significant questions we wanted to continue to ask each other and ultimately ask of God was a question of location. Was God calling us to be a downtown church, or was God calling us to relocate? And throughout our 40-day prayer process, we heard all sorts of reports, and what became clear to us is it seems that the energy within the church and the way in which God is moving is that we are being called to continue to be a downtown church, to be a flagship of downtown, to think about ways in which we might develop partnerships with the hospital, with the gymnastics center, with the freshman campus, with the library, with other churches in the downtown area, and with small businesses. That if we can build those partnerships, then we have a real opportunity to do some incredible ministry, some life-changing ministry. So ultimately, the strategic planning team is suggesting to the board and to the congregation that we remain a downtown congregation. And in that, we work to become what we're calling the backyard of downtown. That we might be able to renovate our entire campus, interior and exterior, so that we can better serve the needs of our neighbors, so that we can better be the backyard of San Angelo and downtown. So we're asking you as a congregation to be in prayer, as the board has already blessed the next step. And what that is we are going to be hiring a design to build firm out of Dallas that specializes with working with churches. And over the next 6 or so weeks, they will be coming and touring our facility. They'll be meeting with leadership and some small groups, and together we'll begin visioning how this space might be transformed. We think that that's going to include a couple of important things. One, we want to look at our worship space, particularly thinking about the sanctuary. How can we renovate this space, this beautiful sanctuary, so that it might be able to be a multi-purpose space, one that can accommodate a traditional worship, but also a contemporary worship, and all sorts of other sort of events, community concerts and outreach opportunities. So we want to look at how we can transform this space to better serve the needs of our church today. We also want to think about how we can create a welcome center within our church, that if you've been a part of this congregation for any time and you've toured our facility, there's really not a good gathering space outside of this sanctuary. And we want to address that and think creatively about ways in which we can create a gathering space to welcome our church members and visitors into worship here. And then lastly, we want to think about the exterior and how we can create an outdoor space that could be used for various activities like midday Bible studies, or possibly Wednesday night programming for children and youth. That could be a space that we could have concerts at in the evenings, or other downtown activities could come and gather in this backyard outdoor space that we create. We think it could be a possibility that we could turn part of our parking lot into a food truck park, and hospital workers and people from the city hall and students from the high school campus could literally walk over to our parking lot during the lunch break, get food from the food trucks, and then gather in our outdoor backyard space and enjoy their lunch hour. We think it might be a space that has the potential to help us continue to build partnerships with maybe the freshman campus, and that maybe before school one day a week we could have an outdoor Bible study that's open to the freshmen to come over and enjoy Bible study before going to school. We think the possibilities are endless. But what's really special about this design to build firm that we're looking at hiring is that not only will they be able to come in and help us vision the sanctuary, creating a welcoming space and also an outdoor space, they will be able to work within our budget to touch as much square footage as possible on this campus. So we think that we will be looking at things of paint and flooring and lighting, that our children and youth space might be transformed, that our fellowship hall and kitchen might be reimagined, and that all sorts of things in our campus will simply be reworked, maximize our potential to serve the downtown area of San Angelo, that we can lean into this idea of being the backyard of San Angelo. But with this idea of becoming the backyard of downtown, we also feel there's real energy about the possibility of having a second campus, a second place for ministry. And for me, to be quite honest, that is scary, because there's a lot of questions that come with that. And there's a lot of how issues that are at play. And yet we believe that if we trust God, that God will reveal the resources to do these sort of ministries. So over the next 5 years, we as a congregation, we want to be open to the possibility of a second location. Maybe that's in a neighborhood that might better suit our needs in how we do children and youth ministry. Maybe it's near ASU so that we can consider thinking about ways to do a college ministry. Maybe it's right outside of Plaza del Sol, one of our low-income senior citizen housing complex that we as a church started, so we can figure out a way to do better mission for those folks. Who knows what that second location might be, but we think it's clear that God is leading us to extend our footprint far beyond the downtown area. So over the next 5 years, we want to continue to consider that. The next way we believe God is moving in the life of the church is how we're calling the grocery store ministry. And really that comes out of our food pantry ministry. We think that God is leading us to grow that program, that we might find a way to not only feed the 60 or so families we work with on a weekly basis, but might be able to address the food insecurity issue for families across Tom Green County. And so we don't know what this vision looks like, but we are going to begin to continue to pray about it. So think about how we might take that ministry to the next level and lean into being a mission-minded church, where the ministry that we do is geared around doing a mission that extends beyond the wall of a single location. And for that, we are so excited about. But one of the immediate action items that we felt was important and the board affirmed is that currently we're feeding 60 or so families a week. And since COVID-19, that has almost doubled. And we're operating outside of a closet, a small closet where we store our food. And every week we pull that food out and we turn our hallways into a grocery store sort of setup. But we want to think about doing that differently. So what we're going to be doing over the next few months is transforming our existing parlor into a permanent food pantry, where there might be some commercial refrigerators and freezers, some shelving units, so that we can store food and that clients can come in and have a positive shopping experience where they're selecting items for their family. That this might eliminate the need to tear down and set up every week, and it might say to the church and to the community that we are fully invested in this ministry. And as we do this, we think God will reveal the next step, the next way in which we are being called to become a church that has this grocery store ministry, this mission-minded ministry. And then lastly, the thing that became abundantly clear to the strategic planning team and the board as we processed the last 40 days of prayer is that we want to continue to work toward unity. And we think this has a couple of layers to it. One, as we think about unity, we think about how we currently have 2 worship services, and we want to think about ways in which we can continue to bridge the gap between the 2 services. This may be moving toward a single service church. It may mean we're moving toward a 3-service church. We don't know. But what we do know is it's so very important that we continue to find ways to build and foster relationship between those who worship at 9 o'clock and those who worship at 11 o'clock. So we're giving ourselves permission to think and dream about worship and how we might continue to allow that to evolve, not just today, but over the next several years. And also, as we think about this Unity project, we have several unique partnerships with other churches and with other nonprofits and with businesses in the surrounding downtown area. And we want to think about ways in which we can grow those partnerships, that we can continue to build unity among those partnerships. Because we believe that when we are able to partner together for a common goal, we are able to do the very work that Jesus talked to his disciples about in John 14. Not only the work that Jesus did, but to do even greater work than Jesus did. But to accomplish that, we have to do that in partnership and in unity with each other and with our neighbors. So those are the 3 big God-sized dreams that we're going to begin working toward. You will continue to hear things over the next several weeks and months. And as we get ready to make decisions, we will bring them to the board and the congregation for the approval and affirmation. And we'll just continue to move forward. We look forward to what is next. We look forward to experiencing $1 million renovation on this campus. We look forward to growing our food ministry into what we're calling the Grocery Store Outreach Project. And we look forward to finding new ways to find unity among our congregation and around our neighbors and partners in ministry. All those things are very, very exciting. And for your continued support and for your willingness to offer prayer and your presence in this process, we give you thanks. I continue to keep you in my prayer daily, and I ask that you do the same, that you pray for me and pray for our leaders, that we are able to be faithful in following God's guidance. We are so excited about what is yet to come, and I cannot wait to journey alongside you over the next year or so as we see some of these things become reality. Until we meet again, be blessed and continue to find ways to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Go in peace. Amen.